Hey everybody, this is John Schwabish from policyviz.com coming to you with another data visualization critique. Now, over the last few videos, I've been pretty positive about the visualizations I've been reviewing. I mean, lots of really great stuff. This is not quite the same case in this page from Norada, which is a real estate investment firm, I'm guessing. I don't really know. So let me just start by saying, not a fan of the 3D map, the 3D CGI guy down here, all the stock photographs. But let me also say, before I get into my critique, that I don't know who the target audience is for this. So this might really work for their target audience. And so we're just going to put that out there, and I'm going to leave that there, that this might be very useful for Norada's particular audience. But I'm going to focus in on some of the dataviz. And this is a really long page. As you can see, I'm scrolling here at the top. If you look at my little cursor here at the top, like I am scrolling. This is going to take us forever to get through. Again, might be right for their audience. So I'm going to focus in on some of the particular data visualizations. Instead of scrolling all the way through, I'm just going to click over. Let's start with this table. Lots of ways to improve how we could do this table. First one for me would be to align these numbers along the decimals. So instead of left aligned, I would have all of these numbers right aligned. They still can sit in the center of the cell. Like if you want to have them centered in the cell under the title of each of these columns, that's perfectly fine. But you want to have them centered or aligned along the decimal so that you can very quickly and easily see that 13 is greater than 9. And the other thing that I would do is just get rid of all the percentage signs here, right? It already says percent year over year. And I'm assuming that people who read this particular website know that percent %y/y is year over year. So I don't think you need all the percentage signs here. So I'd probably get rid of that. And I'd probably also get rid of the trailing zero here. None of these go to the 100th. So I'd probably just get rid of that as well. And that would just help, I think, clear this visualization, this table up just a little bit, just by making those small changes, again, aligning them along the decimal, getting rid of the extra, all the redundant percentage signs, and get rid of those trailing zeros. But the biggest change for me is to align these along the decimal. All right, now let's keep moving all the way down. You know, if you followed anything I've written about or talked about when it comes to data visualization, you know I'm not going to be a fan of a 3D bar chart. Not a fan of this. Tends up to distort the data. But let's dive in a little bit more. Take a look at some other things. I'm not a fan of the animation here. I mean, it does grab your eye. Like when it pops up, you clearly see it. But like, I just don't think it's really necessary. It's got that big red text. So we don't really need to animate it. What else would I do here? I'd love to add some commas to these numbers, right? Like this is, you got to look for saying this 286,000. So I'd add some commas here to these numbers. I'd put this new listing count up here maybe, or in the title or subtitle, and I'd add some commas here. And maybe, again, I don't know, do you need to know that this is 286,992? Would 287K be sufficient? I don't know. Maybe not. Again, depends on the audience, how precise you have to be. At least this chart starts at 0. And again, when you're making your bar charts, really should start all of your axes at 0. Similar sort of thing here. Again, 3D bar chart. We've got the animated title at the top, this long label on the y-axis where I actually do have to turn my head. Another thing I observe, I don't know if I actually need this month label here. Like, it's pretty clear that these are months, right? So maybe I could just get rid of that. Also not sure why I need all the different colors. Like a lot of things to consider here, right? That we could use to improve this graph and how effective it is. I want to get down here just to show you violating rule number 1. Probably the only rule that I really think we should all follow when it comes to data visualizing data, which is your bar charts should start at 0. But again, 3D bar chart, really need to avoid that. But okay, so I've knocked a few of these. Let me find one for you that I actually like. I think this is a pretty decent line chart. Now, does the curvature in the line matter to me? Not so much, really. I mean, I like the way they added the labels right over here, that this is very clearly Boise. This is very clearly Fresno. They've given me the ranking, and they've told me what the percentage increase is. I think this is a really nice work of labeling these. Could they have added the red color to all these labels so you would know that, for example, this lightest red color here is, it's either Glendale or Tucson. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, they could have done that. I'm not sure it really matters though, right? Like they've given me the most important pieces with the increase. The one thing I would do is I would change the color or the thickness of this 0% axis line. I would just make this clearer. I think that this is 0. So I'd make this a little bit darker so that it's not, maybe you think that this goes, the bottom here is 0. I think if you quickly scan at this, quickly look at this, you might think that this is 0. So I would make that line a little bit darker. But other than that, I think this is a pretty good line chart. Now, again, it's coming from Apartment List, maybe not created by Norada, but I think a lot of these are just grabbed and dropped in here. But I think this is a pretty nice line chart. Could make some changes to this. But overall, as you can see, kind of like this, some small changes I'd make here. I'd move away from these 3D bar charts altogether. I'd make some changes here to the table to make this a little bit easier to read. And again, I'm not the core audience here, so folks might really like this and read this. This might be a regular readership, but some things to improve in this visualization. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. I hope you'll be able to use it in your own work. This is John Schwabish from PolicyViz.com. I'll see you at the next critique.